the stock market, meaning companies, new highs.
I'm not fucking leaving. The show goes on. Nuts. They're nuts. They know nothing.
An online network called Internet.
Well, it's very hip to be on the internet right now.
Welcome, my degenerates. The rest of your life starts right now on Market Mania, the no bullshit approach to all financial markets, including Bitcoin, NFTs, Top Shots, and the largest casino in the world, the U.S. stock market. Today, Market Mania, we get to the bag, as we often do. The converter super cycle. Tony, the producer, will tell us about that. Topps, the old school card company, if you guys remember baseball cards that used to come in physical form, doing an NFT SPAC. RIOT goes ham purchasing a bunch of new hash rate, and top story, can't seem to quit it. More Bill Hwang fallout. This story is the gift that keeps on giving, ladies and gentlemen. You may have heard us talk for the last couple of days about this absolutely massive bet that busted, and it just keeps busting, and we keep grabbing more and more headlines thanks to Jason Strassa for firing out this link. He tweeted something like, if you want a friend on Wall Street, get a dog. And truer words have never been said. Morgan Stanley sells about 5 billion of these Archegos shares. I don't even know if that's how you say it. The Bill Hwang family office that famously busted like 10 to 20 billion, still doing the postmortem live in the marketplace over the next few weeks. Leveraged 5 to 10x, 20x. It's completely the biggest like leverage bet that has busted, I think, by an order of magnitude. Matt Glantz, maybe not, but the story here is that Morgan Stanley dumped all over their hedge fund partners, just all over their faces. Chalmers, he likes to SPAC on the face. Morgan Stanley likes to dump on the faces. And so they called their hedge fund buddies. The first 5 billion of what they probably knew was or seemingly they definitely knew was like a 100B, 50B, somewhere in that range of a dump coming. So the first 5-10% or so, or whatever it is, they call up their hedge fund buddies who are used to buying block trades from Morgan Stanley for, similar reasons like this. They must have thought, okay, this is the whole liquidation, big number. And the blocks of the Viacom and the Discovery and the GSX weird thing. Glantz, take me through this. So they shit all over these partners, didn't they?
I mean, that's unclear, but it looks that way, but it's not 100% that's what happened. Basically, it just seems like they saw what was going on with Bill Hwang and company, and knew they're gonna have to call a stock. They're gonna have to, it's a margin call, and force sale. So that rather than wait for everyone else, they just got on the horn and that night and started calling around hedge funds and said, look, we have 5 million shares of Viacom to sell. They could sell at $3 under the market, the closing price. We have 2 million shares of Discovery. Like they went down the list, and any hedge funds that said, yeah, we'll take it. They didn't know what was going on. These kind of things aren't so unusual, but under the circumstance of how much more stock to sell from the other prime brokerages, this is really bad. And it's not clear that Morgan Stanley knew that all the other primes at the time had stock are going to have stock to sell over the next coming days. So, it's unclear. I don't think they're trying to lose clients and piss people off, but at the same time, they are trying to do due diligence to get out.
Not lose 5 billion. They were trying to not fire off like billions on their own balance sheet, more importantly than all else. And this is one industry source who obviously you don't want to be the guy that runs to the press on any side here. But they said it's a giant clusterfuck of 5 different banks trying to unwind billions. It was actually called a clusterfuck on CNBC. Matt Glantz.
So these hedge funds though that bought from Morgan Stanley, they may have done fine, right? The main people that are screwed here are the people who Bill Hwang just defaulted on. The hedge funds got at a pretty big discount, right, Matt? So they might have sold it again. Not
that kind of a discount that you're looking at right there.
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
So, if like they have like 2 million shares of Viacom to sell at 80, the stock closed 83, and they call around and said, we're willing to sell at 80. Maybe, some hedge fund says, all right, we'll take 100,000 shares. Another hedge fund says, we'll take 50,000 shares. And then, they could sell it the next day on the open or pre-market. I don't know what happened that next morning as far as did
It's
open
one
down,
of
did
those
open
giant
and
red.
then go down. But they have, it's possible some of them made money on it.
It's that giant red dildo happened the next morning.
Well, I know some of those
understand
companies. I know Viacom obviously did not recover, but Baidu and I think Tencent or something else, like some of those companies already rebounded. So if you got a discount on those and like held through it or whatever, it's certainly possible they made money.
They rebounded from the lows. I don't think they rebounded from March 25th.
Okay. Yeah.
And
You would
so
know more than I would. So
you can look at that chart too and see that Hwang ran that stock up. I mean, you would assume it's him. I mean, because it's a $40 billion company that doubled in market cap in just this year. And I mean, it's CBS. There wasn't like any material changes as far as I understand it. And I mean, and just the liquidation just gets wrecked. And and I think Baidu was a bigger company, if I recall, right, Matt? That's a pretty big one. I think market cap wise, I'm going to do a quick. Well, no, 16.5 billion market cap. I wonder if that's right on this Webull info that I'm getting here.
I see 80 billion.
That's probably right. This is often wrong. This is still an ongoing story. It's unclear if there are more blocks of stock that still need to be unloaded, where obviously after the stock of these, seemingly blue chip tech, what are they? They're media companies. They get cut in half. So, I mean, you would maybe the bag holders, prime brokerages are still going to hope for a recovery, and maybe they're stuck holding the bag for a little bit here. We'll see. We'll keep the hand on the Bill Hwang button over the next coming days. We'll see if there's any more. See if there's any more here. Especially as the prime brokerages kind of just they're gonna have to declare these losses soon. We'll keep it locked here for you. Riot's going ham. This marks the first ever blockchain topic by Matt Glantz. Matt Glantz, take it away.
So yeah, I saw this. I'm friendly with Jason Less, the CEO of Riot, and I think the company only has like 6 employees, but it's amazing what they've done, especially since he took over. Now they got this order; they're buying 42,000 Antminers, Bitmain miners, in the next year, starting in November. They're going to get 3,500 new miners a month. I can't even imagine how many people they need to hook those up and connect them to all the other stuff and make sure the software is running well and all these issues with different miners when they go bad. But I mean, you guys know a lot more about the space than me, but isn't this a huge bet on the price of Bitcoin? Like they're paying 138 million for these 42,000 miners. If Bitcoin's even if Bitcoin's like 20,000 a year from now instead of 60,000, isn't it hard for them to recoup their money? And aren't these Antminers a year later going to be out of date, and other mining companies will have better miners, better chips? So how does this all work? You probably know a lot more than Mike on.
This is a crazy game where it's a race to get the equipment, it's a race to plug it in, and it's a race to keep it working. And there's always power supply issues and all that. But if Tony, I dropped a message to you with the total Bitcoin hash rate, and then you can look at it over time. And people just keep piling on hash rate, pile on. So as of now, if they got those miners now and they were plugged in and turned on, it looks like they're getting about 7 exahash of power, and there's 166 right now. So, doing the quick math in your head, about 26 million USD worth of Bitcoins a day, about 430 something of them shit out after the last halving every day. And if you had 7 of the 166 exahash, I mean, you're getting whatever it is, about 4% of that. And you're all of a sudden, pooping out, 800K a day. But do they deliver on time? Does Bitmain ship it? What is that hash rate? Click that hash rate over if you can get the, over a 3-year. Click the 3-year. There's next to the 1 year, bottom right, Tony. Because if you can get the 3-year and take a look at this, it's just going to keep piling on. So when they plug that stuff in, maybe they'll only, instead of 4% of the network, maybe they'll have 1% of the network. And it'll just keep going down. So we'll see. We'll see. It's one of those, you got to keep running the numbers. And, how much is their electricity costing is a big part of that too. And Brett, what do you think? You aping in right here? They're buying what's currently 7% of the network. I got Riot.
I got buried shorting Riot, so I learned my lesson there. But I still, for whatever reason, it's really hard for me. I think they're a California company, but I'm not sure. But it's hard for me to see a U.S. company in Bitcoin mining be like a big success. I feel that the energy is just too expensive here. So I'm not sure what their deals are, where they can actually mine these from. But I feel when you have a much higher cost of electricity than people in Siberia, for example, that's like a big part of the game. So I don't know. Honestly, I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to the mining space. And so I wish them well, but it's not for me.
Florida company, Matt? California? No, it's all right. Doesn't matter. Yeah, doesn't matter. No,
Mike, if obviously if Bitcoin keeps going up, they're going to crush. They'll do really well. But what if, my question is, what if Bitcoin goes to 20,000 next year? It stays at 20,000. Are they still going to be profitable because they bought all these miners, when Bitcoin was higher, and now they're mining at break even or loss or something after the energy consumption?
This is the big question. And if you're mining at a plus EV rate, meaning that you can mine, they want to save Bitcoins. It seems like Riot Bitcoin is trying to generate Bitcoins. So it's interesting to see, there's probably some rate, and you've got to dig deep here into the numbers to really figure it out. If anybody did this, by the way, leave us a comment, because we'd be interested to take a look at your work. But if they have to sell Bitcoins, essentially, that's the only thing that they make. That's the only thing that they generate is Bitcoins. So they obviously have to sell them to pay the electricity bill. And it's, cash on hand. How much do they spend? What is it? Is it a lease? They buy it all. They have to send the money now. How much is that electricity bill every month? What's the price of Bitcoin? All of that's going to be in there. And that's the bet. That's seemingly the bet on Riot blockchain. I have no idea where that shakes out. Plus EV or minus.
So they have 40,000 miners now. They're adding another, so they're doubling it, another 42,000 miners. When you have 40,000 miners running it, how much is your electricity a month?
If we could, there's actually really good calculations of this. You can see the info from how many joules that current version of Antminer that they're running now consumes, and then you can also see the expected specs of the next ones that they are expecting. Mm-hmm. And you would assume the 42,000 miners aren't all a uniform product. They've probably been adding for a couple of years, if I recall. And so that's
it has to stay very profitable for them to be able to stay afloat. Definitely
Bitcoin price going down fucks Riot for sure. For sure. Price going up certainly helps them. You can bet on that.
Yeah.
Brett Ritchie.
So what's a better bet? Betting buying Bitcoin or buying Riot stock?
I would always, it's not investment advice, but I would always say Bitcoin. You just buy Bitcoin, you throw it on a Trezor, and then you have it. And then other than investing in Riot, you're hoping that they generate Bitcoins and then give you the profits. And then maybe they'll reinvest them, maybe not.
It's so directional to Bitcoin anyway, and then you add in whatever risk there is of. I know you know the CEO, but there's still some extra risk of a company running into trouble where Bitcoin won't.
Not if you hold it securely.
Yeah,
so,
that's
in the crypto space, staying in the crypto space, Brett, this has to hit your radar. The 83-year-old baseball card company Topps going public, and of course, how could they not be doing NFTs?
Yeah, I was always more of a Donruss guy as a kid, but Topps is iconic. Oh, and they're going public via a SPAC. So we're hitting all the buzzwords here: SPACs, NFTs. It'll be a good gauge of has the market topped, or is there still excitement for this? And it's Michael Eisner, by the way, who's taking this. Former head of Disney for 20 years. He's now retired from that, and he's behind this. And he's like, I see Topps as the exact same company as Disney in '83 or something like that. So I think it's pretty cool. Topps, I don't know what they can do with their old IP or any of these older sets, but given the success of Top Shot, it makes sense that every league is going to be interested, and these other card manufacturers are going to be interested also. And Dapper, they really have their hands full right now with the NBA product and then UFC and Dr. Seuss. So there's definitely an opening for someone like Topps to come along, maybe partner with Major League Baseball would make a lot of sense, and come out with a similar product to Top Shot and target those collectors. So
All right.
I'm excited for it.
Can you scroll that down? Can we see a little? Is there any other info there, Tony? Is there anything that it says? Are they going to like drop NFTs? Are they doing a Dapper thing? Or are they doing, or just doesn't say anything? Doesn't say anything about launch or anything.
Yeah, it's not. It's a little early for that.
Very interesting. I didn't know Eisner was still in the game.
But Topps has been doing. They've been doing NFTs with Wax. They have Garbage Pail Kids NFTs, and then maybe something else. So this isn't even like a total pivot. They've been in the digital collectible space for a little bit. So I think like I'd be pretty bullish, man. Like I would buy into this thing if I could as well. And then Brady's coming out with this company called Autograph, which to me looks like a Cameo type of thing where athletes or whoever, celebrities can like sign these sort of digital collectibles, again, NFTs. And again, like that, it's got a pretty good team behind it. So there's probably demand, man. People like this kind of stuff, but this one's not for me.
Oh man, did you see this? I got my NFT signed by Gronk's MetaMask address. That's him. XOBAA00. That's him. Everybody knows.
Yeah, just think of it like a crypto cameo, I think is a fair way to put it, with Brady at the helm. So like it's got a pretty good chance of success, I'd say.
Call me when the Giselle cards drop. Red day in the market, except for the NASDAQ eking out a small gain. That means Tony, the producer, has to be on here to tell us about doom and gloom.
That's right. I caught this headline in my local news that made me laugh. I guess I shouldn't be laughing at this guy's discontent, but this happens, kind of on a cyclical nature. You'll start to see headlines like this, catalytic converters being stolen and other electronic stuff like that. And the reason that happens is because palladium is on a tear, and there's a lot of palladium.
Palladium?
Palladium.
Are we talking palladium or palladium?
Palladium, whatever.
Okay.
In catalytic converters, and when that gets too expensive, they switch to platinum. So since we're on this commodity super cycle I keep mentioning, headlines like this are going to keep popping up. Now, Micon, you mentioned before the show that you used to work scrap metals. So did you start to see a lot of catalytic converters come in when the prices spiked?
In economic times, you would see some sketchy catalytic converters on the way in on some trucks with some people that you would assume are going to trade that money for drugs. That's just an assumption. I'm not saying that's what happened.
Got to get your liquor money. You'll start to see people ripping copper out of the walls, stuff like that. So it's going to get crazy out there as metals start to expand. So I just wanted to float that by you real quick. Watch out for you Prius owners, especially. You're going to get your catalytic converter stolen. But let's get to the mailbag.
Open the bag.
I don't even have a little picture drawn up, but we had a question. It was actually really pertinent to what you were talking about earlier with storing crypto. Jason Smith was asking, is my crypto safe in Coinbase, and where should I hodl? Yep,
we need the Price is Right losing horn. We need a Price is Right losing horn for just a situation like that. Jason, get your coins off of exchanges. Those are used as exchanges, and you need to do work. Sorry, you have to do work if you want to utilize Bitcoin properly. You have to keep your own keys. You got to keep them secure. You have to think about all the vectors. What if the guy steals the computer? What if they get the seed? What if you put it in the safety deposit box and the bank says, fuck you, that's my safety deposit box now? You have to think of all vectors. It's not easy. There's little companies like Casa that will design a reasonable strategy for you. And you should start playing and start thinking. That's what I would say. And get them off Coinbase.
I think it's totally fine to use Coinbase, especially compared to everything you just said. When dealing with like certain amounts, right? If you're small, medium kind of guy, Coinbase is going to be pretty safe. Make sure to secure your Coinbase account, but I don't think you have a whole lot to worry about keeping it on Coinbase. You start getting into like multi 7 figures, 8 figures of Bitcoin, it makes a lot of sense to learn how to protect it yourself. But if you're doing like 5 or 10K, I would probably just leave it on Coinbase and not deal with all those other headaches.
nothing wrong with also splitting it into some percentage that you have different ways. Maybe you do keep some on a filthy exchange, or maybe you do keep some that you hold yourself. But maybe if it gets big enough, you break it into 3 pieces. So, think about, just start thinking. Bang the noodle.
Not your keys, not your coins. That's the main ethic of the crypto era. Not your keys, not your coins. One of the best ways I know of is to just print a digital or print a paper wallet and just send it to that, laminate that, put it in a safe deposit box, put it under your pillow, whatever.
Destroy the printer after you do that. Destroy the internet connected computer that you did it on, and then now you can hope nobody caught it in transmission.
This is why people just use Coinbase, because it's like it's just so much
Oh,
easier.
Tony, you go out, you get yourself a little titanium, seed backup. You roll some dice, you hammer it out yourself, hammer some words in there. Then you dig it up on your, expansive land. You mark it with an X. 6 feet in a little vault. You're good.
Works for me. All right, let's do some picks of the day.
All right, it's time for the Market Mania pick of the day. Big shout to Mr. Rogers. You got to do a wardrobe change, Matt Glantz.
My pick of the day is Penn National Gaming. Dave Portnoy extraordinaire. They had some problems with stock price yesterday. Dumped on some sex tape annex. Supposedly he's like choking some girl and like doing our doggy style and stuff like that. Which whatever. It's like his thing. It was consensual. I don't think that the stock price should got hit. And this is his 3rd sex tape out. They tried to blackmail him to knock it out. He's like, "Fuck you, I don't care." And whatever. Like the stock shouldn't be down. So the stock's down from 140 when it got out of the S&P. It's now 103, and I'm buying it right here.
That's a huge drop.
Honestly, I thought the way that he was hitting the skins that my man's stock would go up just once everybody saw. And I don't know. That just doesn't make any sense to me.
Are you able to put up the stock price? It's 103.35 right now.
A lot of memes coming out on his replies on Twitter that I've seen. It's quite brutal, and I don't see any reason why that would ever affect the stock price either. But
not for Portnoy, right? Like he's the kind of guy where it's like,
of course he's like,
if it's Zuckerberg or something, it's a little different, right? Like if someone that's surprised is that no one's surprised.
If Zuckerberg was choking it's crazy. Yeah. I mean, it looks consensual. She's having a good time. It's like he's fun.
Single too, right? It's not like he was even cheating on somebody. So, yeah.
Do we lose Tony? Because I don't. See
we lost Tony.
That's all right.
Let's see if we're still on. Yeah.
All right. Let's just show ourselves.
I'll roll into my pick of the day, which is Etsy. I don't really have a whole lot of reason for it, other than people use it. The valuation seems somewhat cheap here at around $25 billion. And I think go make some crafts and buy this up.
All right, and I am gonna go with. I guess he's here. If it showed you the banner for Etsy, I guess Tony's got it.
I was kind of hoping we lost Tony this way. Brett would have to give us a live performance for the outro today.
So I am going to go with BCH on a tear. It's on a tear, and 600 plus. It was peaking like 650 the other day. Usable as cash. It's poor people aren't forgotten out of this crypto. So I have to build a little basis here too for when this moons, and you guys can get destroyed in pick of the day, which I think in 3rd place. That is going to do it for today's episode of Market Mania. We appreciate you tuning in to us every market day and supporting us. We love it. Going to end today with my man YT Cracker and one of the Jeremy Hammond track, who is now out of prison, for those of you that keep tabs on that. And it is Plead the Fifth, I believe, is the song. And it's from YT Cracker, and it goes something like this. Steady hand, steady plan. Keep the work off Instagram. Keep a kill switch on your LAN in case you run into a jam. Rules are simple, follow them. Retain a lawyer, call on him. And silence still the golden rule, bitch. Don't be foolish. Like and subscribe right here on YouTube. Follow us at Market Mania Show on TikTok and Twitter. We'll see you tomorrow, if there is a tomorrow. But for now, it's lights out.
I never sleep if I don't have my medicine. I never sleep if I don't have my medicine. I never sleep if I don't have. I never sleep. I never sleep if I don't have my medicine.
Time to right the wrong. So your hands in the air if you like the song. If you're going over there, take it twice as long. Last time ain't talking about Tylenol. Oh, I bet you'd like to know. You can come around the way if you're trying to go. If you want to switch lanes for a pot of gold or a domino, out of control. The usual. Get mad cause I'm looking at your girl.
Switch it up.
I do it so much louder than everything you've heard. Everybody heard, got the word that the world wasn't turning. Act like you're in a jury, however turn it, where I would turn it. Can't lie like it's Mississippi burning. Don't act like you're in a daze. I mad, should've looked the other way. Couldn't clear space on my mind, was afraid of the time. Strobe light like in the moonlight. I'm in the mood right now, how about tonight? My